Is God's essence his existence? Let's consider. Hello, philosophers. I'm Chico. Welcome to the Philosopher Channel summary of the Summa Theologica. Today we're in part 1, question 3, God's simplicity. Article 4, whether essence and existence are the same in God. Before I get any further, by the way, just so you know, I'm in Albuquerque on Christmas break visiting family, so that's why I'm in this different location. But, and if you hear any screams or anything in the background, that's my children in Grandpa's house. And the wind chimes and everything. I don't know. This is the best I could do. But this is one of the most important points in Aquinas' theology. It is probably part and parcel of his most important argument for the existence of God in his work on being in essence, which remarkably doesn't show up in the Summa Theologica. And it leads to very important conclusions in his theology. So let's get into it. This is, like the top shelf kind of stuff in Aquinas. So the distinction that we're talking about is the essence existence distinction. Essence is what a thing is. Existence is that it is. It's what a thing does when it it's hard to actually explain without using the word existence. It's like you could just point to things that exist and say whatever that thing is doing, yeah, that's existing, right? You can say you can't point to things that are not existing. You can say unicorns, they don't exist, but at the very least they're existing in your mind. Nothing doesn't exist, but even when I say nothing, we have some kind of concept that we've got there. It's a negative concept, but that's the best we can do. So everything exists, and everything also is a kind of a thing. So everything has this essence existence distinction. It is a certain kind of a thing, and it also exists. Is God so radically simple that his essence is just existence itself? Is his essence just being? That's the question before us. And for Aquinas, he's going to say, yes, it is the case that his essence is being itself, which is a radical concept. So let's look first at his bringing out the concept. He starts by quoting Hilary de Poitiers in the De Trinitate. In God, existence is not an accidental quality, but subsisting truth. Right? So existence is subsisting truth. Hilary of Poitiers, by the way, is a 4th century doctor of the church. So you can look that guy up. So what subsists in God is his existence. Remember, subsist means to exist on your own, to be able to exist independently. So what exists is existence for God. But for God, what subsists, remember, is his essence. So we saw this in the last video. So his essence subsists, his existence subsists. That means that the two things must be identical. His essence is his existence. Okay, argument 1. God is his own essence. Again, check the last video. That's going to explain exactly why that is. 2, God is his own existence as well. And I'm going to show you, he's going to give you, I didn't come up with it. He's going to give you 3 arguments for why that is. But God is his own essence. God is his own existence. Therefore, God's essence is his own existence, right? If God is identical to his essence and he's identical to his existence, then God's essence is identical to his existence. And that's just the transitive property. So let's look at those arguments for God is being identical to his existence. Argument 1, whatever a thing has besides its essence must be caused either by the constituent principles of that essence or by some exterior agent. So what does it mean by caused by the constituent principles of that essence? Well, he gives an example. He says, a property that necessarily accompanies the species and is caused by the constituent principles of that species. What is that? He gives an example of that. Laughing is proper to a man. So laughing is the property, and man is the species. And laughing is, as it says, necessarily accompanies the species, right? It's a property that necessarily accompanies the species man. And it's caused by the constituent principles of the species man, right? The fact that your ability to laugh is caused by you being a man. Please feel free to substitute in human for man. I'm sorry, it's just old ways of talking. It's nothing is meant by it. But yeah, so laughing is proper to a man. Laughing necessarily accompanies the species of man, and laughing is caused by the constituent principles of the species of man. So that's what is indicated by caused by the constituent principles of the essence. So whatever you have besides your essence is either caused by the essence, right? Or caused by an exterior agent. What would that be like? He gives the example of heat caused in water by fire. So water obviously can't cause heat. So there must be some exterior agent that causes that heat, and that exterior agent in some cases might be fire. So fire could cause the heat in the water, but that would be an exterior agent to the water. So those are two different places where you can get the thing that you have in you that is not identical to your essence, something that is not your essence. It could either be caused by your essence, or it could be from some exterior agent. So, if the existence of a thing differs from its essence, logically, this existence must be caused either by the constituent principles of that essence or by some exterior agent. 3, if a thing has its existence caused, it can't be the sufficient cause of its own existence. The constituent principles of your essence can't cause your existence. Why? Because then your essence would have to exist before it existed. And that doesn't make any sense, right? You can't exist before you exist. So it can't cause your existence. 4, so a thing's existence can't be caused by the essential constituent principles. 5, so a thing whose existence differs from its essence must have its existence caused by an exterior agent. So if it's not caused by your constituent principles, it must be by some exterior agent. But we're going to see that can't be the case for God. It says God is the first efficient cause, which is something that we've already seen, right? Back in Article 3 of Question 3. Article 3 of Question 2, Article 3 of Question 2. So God's existence can't be caused by an exterior agent. So if the constituent principles of the essence can't cause the existence, and an exterior agent can't cause the existence, then by modus tollens, going all the way back to premise 1 here, it can't be the case that the existence is distinct from the essence in God. So in God, existence must be identical to essence. So that's argument 1. Argument 2, existence makes every form or nature actual, right? That's what makes it an actual thing. So, for example, goodness and humanity are spoken of as actual only because they are spoken of as existing, right? You wouldn't say goodness is actual unless it existed. That is necessary in order for you to say that goodness is actual. 2, so if existence and essence are distinct, then existence must be compared to essence. Existence got to be the actual part, and essence has got to be the potential part. 3, in God, there is no potentiality, right? And this is shown in Article 1 of this question. 4, so in God, essence doesn't differ from existence. 5, so his essence must be identical to his existence. In other words, if your essence is the potentiality part of you, then since he has no potentiality, his essence must just be existence itself, must just be actuality, pure actuality. And that's the most pure actuality you can have, is just pure existence, pure being itself. That's the argument. Argument 3, that which has fire but is not itself fire is on fire by participation. If you're not fire but you're on fire, then you participate in fire. So by analogy, 2, that which has existence but is not existence is being by participation, right? If you have being but you are not being itself, then you have being by participation. 3, God is his own essence, as we've already seen. We've already said that. Already seen it in Article 3. 4, so if God is not his own existence, he will be not essential, but participated being only. 5, so he will not be the first being. He'll be participated being. You have to participate in some being, right? In order to be being, you have to participate in something. 6, it's absurd that God is not the first being. 7, so God is his own existence and not merely his own essence. Okay, time for some objections. Objection 1, if essence and existence are the same in God, then the divine being has nothing added to it, right? So if essence and existence are identical, then you can't add anything, because God is just pure being, and there's nothing you can add to pure being. Whatever you can add, whatever you try to add, you can ask, oh, does that thing be? Oh, well, then God's already got, pure being. So you can't, it's not something that is additional to pure being. 2, being to which no addition is made is universal being, though. Being which is predicated of all things. So when we say just being and you can't add anything to it, that is like the kind of being that we would say like this rock has, right? This rock has being. But when I say has being, you can't add anything to that universal term being. Otherwise, this watch couldn't be being, right? This watch couldn't have being. If part of what I mean by being when I say this rock has being is that it is rectangular, then this watch couldn't have being because it's not rectangular. So being in the universal sense, you can't add anything to it. So God is being in general, which can be predicated of everything. But God is not being in general, which can be predicated of everything, right? And as support of this, he quotes Wisdom 14:21, for men gave the incommunicable name to stones and wood. God called, they're saying that people called idols made out of stone and wood God, and you can't give the name of God to those things because those things are not God. So if you can't call those things God, obviously God is not, God being pure being, you can't call pure being the name of God. You can't call just whatever you want to, right? It's not universal in that way. So God's existence is not his essence. In response to this, Aquinas says, a thing that has nothing added to it can be of 2 kinds. So there's 2 ways that we can say that you can't add something to it. Number 1, either its essence precludes any addition, and his example is, it is of the essence of an irrational animal to be without reason. So if I were to say to you that like a bear is without reason, I could say to you that bear is, man, I hate to say it like this. I don't mean anything by this, but if I say that bear to you, that bear is mentally retarded, and you're like, why? Because it can't like come up with mathematical solutions. What? That doesn't make any sense. Its essence is such that it can't do those kinds of things. It's not supposed to do those kinds of things, right? Or it would be like saying that rock is blind. Well, obviously, you can't say that the rock is blind. A rock can't be blind because a rock is necessarily, by being a rock, precludes any kind of vision. So that's one way you can say it. You can see the shadow creeping up on me, huh? This is like the worst. I chose the worst place and time, and you can hear all kinds of things going off. So bear with me. 2, here's the second kind, or its essence does not require that anything should be added to it. So, for example, the genus animal is without reason because it's not of the essence of the animal to have reason, but it's also not against the essence of animal to have reason. So it's not like the saying of a bear, hey, that thing doesn't have reason. Well, of course it can't have reason. Of animals, they could or they couldn't. I'm just not like adding one or the other to. You got to be neutral on that because they could or they might not, right? Animal, you got to remain neutral on that. The divine being can't have anything added to it in the first sense, right? It's sort of like the adding rationality to a bear, or trying to say that a bear doesn't have rationality. Sure, but universal being is like in the second sense, where you have to be neutral because, is being rectangular? Maybe not. I don't know. So you have to be neutral in that sense. So there are two different ways of saying you can't add something to it. So when we say God is being, we mean being in the first sense. When we say this rock has being and this watch has being, we mean being in the second sense. That's his response. Objection 2, I'm going to try and move my head so I'm in the light here. No, I'm going to keep it in the middle. Objection 2, we can know whether God exists, as is said above in part 1, question 2, article 2. But we cannot know what he is, we also said in the same. God's essence is his quiddity or nature, or in other words, what he is. So, and this isn't in the original, but the implication is, if God's existence is the same as his essence, then we know what he is. So God's existence is not the same as his essence. That's the argument here. His reply to this, to be can mean either of two things. Once again, Aquinas is the master of distinctions. He is phenomenal at pointing out, observing distinctions between things and seeing how they lead to confusion. So he says, to be can mean two things. It can mean the act of essence, right? And it can mean the composition of a proposition affected by the mind and joining a predicate to a subject. So to be can mean the essence of a thing as it actually exists, or it can mean bringing subject and predicate together in the mind in the act of judgment. In the first sense, we can't understand God's essence or his existence. Like, that's beyond us. But in the second sense, that's what we're talking about. The proposition God exists, we can know that. That's what he means. We can know the proposition God is true, and we can know it from his effects. That's how we learn. We see the effects and we reason back to the cause. So although we don't grasp God's essence in itself, we see the things of creation, and we reason that there must be some cause, and here are the things that the cause must be like. Or rather, we really reason like, this must be what the cause can't be like, so therefore it must be like this. Like that's the way we reason. So there is Aquinas' response to objection 2. So there you go. That is one of the most powerful theological concepts discovered by all theologians, I think. Is Thomas Aquinas' essence, existence, distinction. It's not actually his. Avicenna is the one who really brought this to light, and Aquinas ran with it and made some real big money on it. If you have any questions, again, hit me up in the comments. Please don't forget to support this project at my Patreon page, link in the description. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. My face is rapidly descending into the shade, so I'm gonna go, but I will see you in the next video. Adios.